I'm Katie Wells, host of the Maximized Minimalist podcast. I escaped the hamster wheel of modern-day motherhood, overwhelmed by clutter and buried under the mental load. Now I live in a home that feels calm, manageable, and made for real life. I have margin in my days, energy for who matters most, and time for slow mornings and silly dance parties in the kitchen with my family. With over 5 million listens, the show has helped women around the world turn their homes into their happy place. Around here, we simplify for more peace, more presence, and more joy. We choose grace over guilt and progress over perfection. And we believe your home should give back more than it takes. I'm here to help you do the same. Come along with me and my guests as we share the real stories, habits, and strategies that help you lighten the load from the inside out. Pull up a seat, friend, and let's do this together. Ready, set, simplify. Have you ever tried to relax at home, but no matter how hard you try, your brain keeps scanning for what needs to be done? I remember telling Andrew years ago that I felt like so consumed that I was like the eye of Sauron from Lord of the Rings, like that ever-seeing, all-seeing eye who was always looking for the ring. And it wasn't just clutter in my house I was trying to spot. It was like all I could see were the open tasks and all the stuff I needed to do. Even though I wanted to relax, my brain was like, let's find something to do, something to fix, something to organize, something to declutter. So if this is resonating and you too are tired of being the eye of Sauron in your home, I'm going to give you a quick gut check for what happened or for what to do in those moments. So you can tell if you actually need a break or if you're just dodging a hard decision. I'll also give you one simple question to use this week that's going to make the next decision really just so much easier. So 8 years ago, I remember Andrew was working really late one night. The boys were asleep and I had finally finished everything. No, my home wasn't perfect by any means, but I hit that point in my day where I was like, okay, like the house is reset. I can like breathe a little deeper. And I sat down on the couch and the house was so quiet. I could hear the refrigerator humming from the kitchen and coming from a season with 2 tiny kids. And it felt like there were pterodactyls in my house, like 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. Y'all know, if you know, right? And I just remember being like, deep breath. I sat down on the couch and I want to tell you, I felt so peaceful. I opened a book. I lit a candle. But here's the reality. My skin started to crawl. I felt so uncomfortable. I actually grabbed my phone, scrolled for 30 seconds, put it down, walked back into the kitchen. I'm like, well, is there something I can do? Opened the fridge, stared in it, closed it. I wasn't even hungry. And then I sat back down and I felt like the quietness felt like it was just pressing down on me. And here's the part I'm really almost embarrassed to tell you. At this time, our toys lived in our living room for the kiddos. We didn't have a dedicated playroom. So I just hopped up off the couch, went over to those bins and started to organize, even though it didn't need it. And I remember standing there with this plastic dinosaur in one hand and a bin lid in the other, thinking like, Katie, like, what is wrong with me? I had been complaining for years about the clutter in my house, never getting a moment to myself. And now I had one and I'm trying to be quote unquote productive. And it took me such a long time to understand what was happening to me this night. And here's what I realized. I wasn't obsessed with organizing or decluttering or like doing these household tasks. I was attached to what the busyness, and in this case, the clutter I still had to work through, gave me permission to do, which was keep moving, stay busy, keep my brain occupied with the small stuff so I didn't have to sit in silence with the bigger stuff. For me, the clutter wasn't just making my home feel chaotic in this counterintuitive, strange, ironic way. It was also protecting me from having to figure out what peace even felt like. And I wasn't just holding on to stuff. I was really hiding behind it. And I can sum up what was happening in one sentence. Ready, set, go. Stillness exposes what stimulation medicates. And clutter was my stimulation. It's a lot of our stimulations. And once I saw that, it really changed how I looked at clutter completely. So again, today we're going to walk through 2 ways clutter can be doing the same to you and how it can protect you in that sense. And the first way is that it keeps you in doing mode, because when you're busy picking up and organizing and managing, Even doing laundry and these other tasks unrelated to clutter, you don't have to be still. And when you're not still, you don't have to deal with what might come up. And I'm going to say this carefully because I don't want this to sound dramatic, y'all. But for a lot of people, stillness does not feel relaxing. It feels exposing. And it's that moment where you sit down, just like I did, and your brain gets loud. And the clutter gives you a reason to stay in motion and helps create this, we'll call it a low-grade sense of like, there's always something to do. And that can look like a lot of things. Sometimes it's exhaustion, like you're running on empty and clutter becomes proof you cannot rest yet. Sometimes it's loneliness. I just remember feeling so isolated, especially in early motherhood. It's tough. It's a tough season. And if the house is quiet, like it was for me that night, like you feel it in your bones. Sometimes it's resentment, like how much you carry, the mental load. Oh, heavens. It's how little support you might be getting, how you're tired of being the one managing everything and holding it all together. Sometimes it's grief and you don't have the space to touch that right now. Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's overwhelm because the truth is maybe you are overcommitted and the clutter becomes the easiest place to blame. And I'll say the quiet part out loud. Sometimes clutter becomes the most convenient scapegoat because if your home was magically perfect tomorrow, if Mary Poppins magic was real and I snapped my fingers and I was like, girl, done. You might still be depleted and still overbooked and still avoiding hard conversations, still not getting what you need. So focusing on the clutter can feel more doable than saying no, asking for help, or admitting, hey, something needs to change. So here's something small to try this week. Next time you feel that itch or you feel like that eye of Sauron, looking for the ring, pause. Girl, we just need to pause and ask yourself, like, what am I really needing right now? Because here's the reality. Just like we often ask ourselves, or hopefully we do, when is enough enough when it comes to material possessions? When is enough enough? If you can't name that, girl, clutter is going to be a problem forever. When is my house good enough, right? This is why I preach and love the good enough home. There's always something. You could walk into my house as I'm recording this. I'm looking at colored pencils on the floor. My kiddo just did an art project. There's dirty kitchen towels on top of the counters. There are sticky notes next to me. None of this I would say is clutter by any means. But there's always something we can do. I could find something to do constantly still if I wanted to at the end of my night. When is enough enough? When do you earn rest, a break, quiet? What do you need to do each day in order to earn those things? Why do we need to earn anything? As usual, we going deep. So what am I really needing right now? Pick one small thing and do it on purpose. Not because your brain is panicking and you're just stuck in go mode. And here's a really honest question too. If your house, again, was totally caught up and quiet for the night, what would you do? How do you envision spending that time? Because whatever your brain reaches for first, that's usually important. And speaking of your home feeling off, quick break here, because there are a few invisible things in our homes that can really mess with how we feel inside of it. And most of us don't realize it. If you've ever felt that, like, ooh, something's off in my house, air quality can be one of those invisible stressors. I used to wake up sneezing and congested every single morning. That's when I started looking into air quality and discovered Air Doctor. This is the only air purifier I use in my home, and I noticed the difference within days. First, number one, the odors. We have 2 boys, 2 cats, and we cook a lot. And that lingering smell that used to hang around, it's gone. Second, my allergies and sinuses have calmed down significantly, and that's such a huge blessing for me. And third, I'm sleeping better. I didn't even connect it to air quality at first, but it really makes sense because when you're breathing cleaner air, your body can actually rest. So here's what sets Air Doctor apart. They have a powerful 3-stage filtration that captures particles about 100 times smaller than what typical air purifiers can remove. We are talking dust, pollen, mold spores, pet dander, wildfire smoke, bacteria, viruses, odors, ozone, VOCs, which are off gas from furniture and cleaning products, by the way. And unlike other air purifiers I've tried, it is so quiet, you barely know it's running. Plus, it has an auto mode feature. I keep mine on auto mode that adjusts to keep your air optimal 24/7. No joke, y'all. When I clean the kitty litter, which is right near my air filter, it kicks up, like it turns on higher. This thing is legit. It works so good. I don't have to press a button and come back to it later to turn it back down. It auto does it for me. So I love that piece of it too. There is no guesswork. And it also reminds you when you need to change the filter. Again, I don't need the mental load of managing something else in my house. This thing makes it so easy. Also, 98% of Air Doctor customers say their home air feels cleaner, safer, and healthier. And Air Doctor just won Newsweek's Reader's Choice Award for Best Air Purifier. So head to airdoctorpro.com, use promo code MAX to get up to $300 off today. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee plus a 3-year warranty, which is an $84 value for free. So get this exclusive podcast-only offer now at airdoctorpro.com. That's airdoctorpro.com. And that made me feel like I was back in kindergarten. Hopefully I spelled it right. Use promo code MAX for your discount. Okay. So we talked about how clutter can keep us in doing mode so that maybe we don't have to feel some of those feelings, right? But there's also a second way clutter protects us. And honestly, this one runs even deeper. Okay. This can protect us in the sense that sometimes our stuff is holding more than just stuff. Not in a dramatic way, but in a very real life way. That box of maybe your grandma's things you cannot open. Again, it's not about the dishes or the photos. It's about what it brings up. The clothes from a different season of life, it's not about the jeans. It's about who you were then or who you thought you'd be. You can apply this towards all these other things in your home, right? This is why you can be totally capable, totally motivated, and still stuck on certain items because you're not just deciding about an object. You're deciding about meaning. Humans love meaning. Humans love assigning meaning to things. I'm a human. You're a human. We do this. And I think this is important to acknowledge. I've seen this over and over again. Someone, for example, is making progress. They're feeling lighter. Then life hits. A loss, a big transition, a heavy season, and the clutter creeps back in. Not because they forgot the strategies, but because when you're stressed, stuff becomes the easiest place to set things down. Physically, yes, but also emotionally. That's why I teach the stuff story. Every item has a practical layer. Yes, like what it is and whether you use it. And it can have a story layer too, what it represents, who or what it reminds you of, what you've been told you should do with it. And most decluttering advice stays on the practical layer, but the shift happens when you can name the story and the meaning. So if you're holding one thing this week and feel stuck, try this. Ask yourself, what is this really about for me? What is it about? What would it mean if I let it go? Is there truth in that? What am I afraid I'd lose if this wasn't here anymore? That's it. And here's the part, again, no one really talks about. If clutter has been protecting you, letting go will feel even weirder at first. Because again, it's not just the distraction, it's noise, it's something to manage, it's keeping your hand and your mind and your soul and body busy. So the question that keeps a lot of people stuck is not how do I declutter, it's what happens after I do. And here's what I've seen. Yes, you get back space, but you also get back time and you also get back space in your brain. And sometimes that space is exactly what you've been avoiding because it forces you to notice what's been true all along. Maybe you're exhausted, you're doing too much, your schedule is the real clutter. Maybe you need support, not another storage bin. And I'll say this gently. Sometimes we think we want a calmer home, but if we zoom out a bit more, I think a lot of us really want a calmer life. And decluttering is just where it starts for a lot of us. So tiny action this week. Pick one item you keep getting stuck on. And instead of asking, do I need this? Hopefully you don't ask yourself that at all. I mean, you can if you want. But I do fully believe that better questions lead to better answers. Again, ask, what story am I attached to here? What does keeping it let me believe? And on the flip side, does letting it go mean something about myself? Is that true? I use that one constantly. Still, I'm 38 years old. I still use these same questions. I don't know why you need to know my age. I'm trying to say I continue to use this years into my declutter journey. Name the story, name the meeting, and that alone can change that next decision. And if, again, this brought something up for you, you're not weird, you're human, and you're not broken either. The goal here is not to overanalyze your stuff. It's to stop fighting yourself, I think, and just release being the Eye of Sauron. Doesn't that just feel better? Like, imagine in that movie, like it just shuts down for the night and is like, I don't need to look for the rain tonight. I'm going to watch a movie. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to let Frodo keep making his way. And I'm just going to feel good knowing that I can open my eye tomorrow and keep working on this, right? It truly is a journey. And I'm cheering you on through this. And if, again, something that made this click, don't lose that, because here's what usually happens. You have the insight, then real life hits and it fades away. This is exactly why Clutter Cure Club exists. You get me in your corner, simple plans and strategies that work in real life and a community of families who truly get it. This month's March new resource drop is all about toy clutter, which I hear you, is so exhausting because it's not just clutter, it's decision overload, guilt, or what if they miss it? So I made you a kid spaces and toys declutter guide this month with age-based guidance, conversation starters, and also what to do and how to respond when your kid resists to decluttering. So you can join Clutter Cure Club to get that monthly resource drop, plus access to our entire members vault, which has over 100 resources in there for you. At just $19 a month, you can cancel anytime. That link is in the show notes, or go to cluttercureclub.com. Friend, thank you for being here today. This one, I would say, as usual, is personal for me, and I hope it gave you a new lens and a doable next step. I'll see you next week. Ready, set, simplify. Bye.